I have spent 16 hours weeding just this cottage garden space, and I'm not done. So let me tell you how it went. This is supposed to be my new cottage garden, and by the way, it's not going the way I had hoped, entirely because it's full of bindweed. So I'm on a mission to remove as much of it as I can. My current method has been to hand dig and remove as much of the bindweed roots as possible, which has been improving things, but it's taking a lot of time. This spring, I started weeding my cottage garden where I had already dug it last year. There's considerably less weeds in those areas, and I can get through them pretty quickly. So the first day, I did a few hours of work and got through all of the easy stuff, which was really encouraging and satisfying to feel like I was making good progress. Which is the same feeling I was having last spring, a year ago, when this space used to be lawn and I was starting this garden. The first steps were encouraging and satisfying. I was so excited. I made a few videos about why I was doing it and how I was getting started. You might have even seen them. One of my goals was to add shade to our backyard. I also wanted to get rid of the bindweed here. The shade part is easy. You just plant trees. And I did that. The bindweed, though, I thought I would be able to work it down through spot weeding. But things took a turn when the spring weather started to warm up. I thought I had a good plan, but things were not going as I had hoped. Just like now, after I got through the first day of weeding, the next days were going much slower. So what I got done yesterday looks great, but it was all kind of the easy stuff. What's left today, I don't think I'm gonna get through it all. See how it goes. I was spending less time weeding, and the bindweed roots were getting thicker because I was moving into spaces that I hadn't dug as well last year, or maybe I didn't keep up with them. I don't remember, but things were going much slower, which was not encouraging. But the way bindweed works, if you're gonna dig it, you have to go a bit slow and be really thorough. Day 3. Bindweed grows quickly and spreads through underground rhizomes. So basically, if you leave a piece of root behind, even a small one, there's a good chance that it will sprout and grow into a new plant. So my strategy has been thoroughness and persistence. Day 4. When I started this garden space, I had no idea how dense this bindweed's root system was that had been living in this lawn for years, like a decade plus. So after initially laying cardboard and new topsoil, this space looked great. And I knew I'd have bindweed to deal with, but I thought I was going to be able to just spot weed it as I went. And I was feeling confident that that would work. I think it was about 6 weeks later. The bindweed came up through the cardboard and fresh topsoil in my brand new beds. I tried spot weeding for a bit, but there was so much of it, I reluctantly admitted that my plan was not going to work. Everything is growing vigorously, the grass needs to be mowed all the time. The bindweed now feels the same way. It's coming up through the cardboard in like fistfuls. I changed my strategy at that point to brute force, manual removal of the roots, which is a tiring choice. Now, this spring, through these 16 hours of weeding, my back was getting tired, so I wasn't weeding every day and I would try to take breaks. Day 5. It's been a few days since I've done any digging, but what's left is the dentist part, so hopefully we can put a good dent in the density of the weeds. But also the test of my patience was going up. I had started with the easy part, which was good to have an early win, but I had been working towards the area that had never been dug. And the amount of roots in those spots was ridiculous. I was spending 45-minute blocks of time on these spaces that were like this big. Day 6. I would really like this to be done, but I'm not gonna get through it today. And I did this last year too. Once I changed my strategy, I started digging through the beds. And I took out a lot of roots. But it was time consuming and the bindweed was growing fast. The bindweed in the cottage garden is now like laughably bad. it's so horrible. I wanted to get it dug so I could plant into this new garden, but I was not keeping up with it. At one point, I resorted to just picking the vines off the surface to prevent it from flowering. I never got the whole garden dug last year. There's still a good portion next to the pavement that I never touched. I tried to stay on top of the new shoots in the spots that I had already dug. That felt a lot easier to manage. But again, the satisfaction per effort is just so much better in spots that only have a few roots compared to the slow progress of new spots. Day 7, but if it starts raining, I'm going in. I was getting back to this feeling this year. I felt like I was pouring all of this energy into weeding and making so little progress. It was, of course, going faster this year. I had fresh new spring energy, but still, I felt like I was making so little progress. I did realize maybe I should be trying to improve my technique so that I can be more efficient. I don't think there's huge gains to be made here, but I'm not sure why I didn't think of it sooner. Day 8. So I switched my gloves and wore better fitting ones. That helped. And I tried using my soil sifter. I think it was helpful. It caught bigger roots. Smaller roots will definitely go through, but it also helped keep the soil separated, so unsifted soil wouldn't get mixed back in before I checked it. I tried to enjoy this middle part. It became pretty meditative, and because I was so quiet and still, the wildlife would creep into the garden without realizing I was there. I got to listen to the birds and watch them visiting the bird bath. There were crows coming to the kiddie pool. Oh, and there was a raccoon who was surprised I was home. Hey, what's up? Dude, what? I wasn't expecting to see a raccoon. Is this kind of like a cool place to hang out if you're a raccoon though, I guess? Can you go back? I was very careful not to upset him, but I did want him to move along so I could keep digging. He came back the next day too, and he wasn't so surprised that time. No, don't come in here. Keep going, please. But despite feeling like I've been making a nice garden for the local birds, I was feeling like I was pouring all this effort into weeding and making so little progress. I had spent 6 or 7 days chipping away at this bindweed, and it felt like I had done nothing. Like there had been no change, just endless. It's funny, there was one day that it changed from looking hopeless to realizing actually what's left is very manageable. So when the next weekend hit, I made a big effort to get a lot done. Day 9. I was able to do 3.5 hours on Saturday. Sunday was Mother's Day, so I took that day off. My mom and I did a bit of shopping that day. We got some annuals, so I need to plant up my patio container still. Let me know if you'd like to see that. Now, going forward, there's just a bit left to do, and I think I'll be able to finish this first pass of digging very soon. There's a section next to the pavement left to dig, and then around the trees where I need to be more careful. After that, I just need to maintain and watch for fresh sprouts. The paths, on the other hand, I have not tackled them yet. I've been ignoring them. Last year, all I was doing was picking the tops. I do really want to do some planting this year in this space, and I have some overwintered plants that are dying to have a permanent home, and I'd love to share this new garden project with you. So if you have been following along for the cottage garden project, I'm so sorry it hasn't been going to plan, but I do still want it to happen. It will happen. So enjoy your gardens. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you next time.